waves out there. Let's come and kick it with us. We don't have to wait for the action.
Well, when you get tired of the pipe, come surf some real waves.
Bethany Hamilton is holding nothing back.
Looks like she has a real future. And with her heart, her will, she'll go far.
Thursday night's a full moon. We're all gonna go surfing.
Sorry, Mom. I really wanted to go night surfing. Would you have let me go?
No. I don't know.
Can you believe we get to come out here every day?
Call 911.
Teenage girl from the North Shore. Shark attack.
Traumatic amputation. Feel loss of blood. She's going into hypovolemic shock.
The things that you're going to have to learn to do differently is extensive.
I can't do this anymore.
So what do we do now?
We'll take it day by day.
I don't understand. I don't know why terrible things happen to us sometimes, but I have to believe that something good is gonna come out of this.
What's all this stuff?
A little fan mail. We sorted it out by country.
There's an 8th grader from North Carolina who lost his arm. He's gonna try out for his school soccer team because of me, and he's rooting for me in my next competition.
Hey, Dad. I need your help.
It's not going to be easy.
I don't need easy. I just need possible.
The greatest surfers, they know when the best waves are coming. You feel it. You have that gift too.
When you come back from a loss, when you beat the odds and never say never, you find a champion.
I'm Michael Burke.
And I'm Douglas Schwartz, and we are the writers and producers of Soul Surfer, the movie that we're going to screen here tonight. And we've been working together for 60 years as writing and producing partners.
We started younger than you. We started making movies when we were 12 and 13, and actually sold our first movie to CBS when we were 12 and 13, that showed on Saturday mornings.
That was a movie called Lost Battalion. Lost Battalion was a World War II movie. So at my bar mitzvah, when I was 13, Michael and I were very close as first cousins. Our mothers were sisters. So we decided with my bar mitzvah funds and an 8mm, Super 8mm movie camera that we got from our Uncle Sherwood, that we would write and produce and direct and star in our own little movie. In 1958, there weren't any kids making movies. There was no video cameras in those days. There was nothing. So we took about $250 from my bar mitzvah funds, and my mother was the cameraman, and we went out and shot this little war movie. It was almost 30 minutes in length, added a soundtrack. It was a theatrical style movie, and we ended up showing it in our parents' backyard in the Hollywood Hills to make our money back and try to make a profit. So we had a screening like this, and we sold popcorn and candy and soft drinks and charged $0.25 admission. And we made a profit of about $500 in 2 screenings on a weekend. But there was an executive from CBS, and he invited us to bring this movie to CBS and show it to the other executives there, because they had never seen a film made by kids before. So we brought our Omega projector and our Wallensack tape recorder, which sunk up the sound with the picture, and set it up in the conference room at CBS Television City, showed it to all the executives at CBS. They were blown away, and they bought it for $5,000.
So, I mean, naturally, we grew up in Hollywood and always wanted to make movies and TV, and we just kept doing it since we were kids.
And we ended up building a teenage motion picture company.
Well, that's the other.
So we ended up having 20 kids, 30 kids, 40 kids, all teenage kids as we went through junior high and high school. And by the time we were in high school, we had over 100 teenagers working at our company, making films every summer during summer vacation and Christmas vacation.
That was our film school. There were no film schools then.
So we've literally, we just wrote our memoirs. Our book is called From Bar Mitzvah to Baywatch. So that was the start of it. 60
Because
years ago.
we also created Baywatch along the line. We produced Baywatch, this series and the movie. But you know, the Soul Surfer was interesting because Bethany Hamilton, you know, had written this book, and it was an amazing, inspiring book. And they had tried to develop it into a movie a couple of times, but failed. And then Doug got involved, and we got involved because we kind of understood they figured we understood the ocean, and we understood Hawaii, and
there's something else that we understood, which is I am legally blind. I'm actually 98% blind. And when Bethany wrote to us, she was a big fan of Baywatch, and she sent us her book and said, I would love you guys to read my book and tell me if you would be the honor of having you write and produce my movie. But she was inspired because I'm legally blind, and I was able to overcome my obstacle, my disability, just like Bethany overcame her disability.
He's the only
losing an
director
arm.
in the Directors Guild that's legally blind, directing, you know, hundreds of episodes and movies and stuff legally blind. So.
And I see like a viewfinder of a camera, so I have a very narrow field of vision. But I'm still able to direct, and because Michael and I created 8 television series, and we were the showrunners of all 8 series. We produced over 500 episodes of television. And I was able to hire myself to direct, because otherwise nobody is going to hire a blind director. But I know I could direct in spite of it, and so we started creating our own shows, and I would hire myself, and I ended up directing 153 shows out of the 500 and some odd shows that we produced. Michael is the better writer of the two of us. I'm a really good idea guy. I'll say, hey Michael, what about this? But Michael is able to execute that on paper, which is really the most important thing, is translating it from your head to your mouth to paper to the screen.
But what's most important, I think, is because we've known each other and trust each other so much, we argue out every point. Every point, somebody will take the opposite side. And we make sure it works, and if it doesn't work, we don't necessarily throw it out, we just figure out how to get there, different way to get there. And we've been very successful. I think our strength is storytelling, because of the fact of we never got the McKee's story thing and have this many acts and this break and this, all this other stuff. We did have to be disciplined writing hooks for commercials of the TV movies and series we did, but it's just kind of instinctual telling good stories.
But we're writers and producers, so we literally would...
We produce everything we've written.
Create something, write something together. Again, Michael's the primary writer, but we would work together on the scripts that we wrote and developed, and then we would produce it together as well. My strength is more production and directing, where Michael's strength is more writing and producing. So that's how we balance each other and compensate for each other in terms of complement each other.
Yeah, for example, on Soul Surfer, we went to Hawaii to write the script. So we went to the, what was the name of the hotel?
Turtle Bay.
Turtle Bay on the North Shore. And they have a high rise, and they have these bungalows right on the beach. So when we got there, I had the high rise and was supposed to sit on a balcony and write the script. I finally said, I'm sitting on the balcony looking at these bungalows going, I can't be here for 2 months writing a script sitting in this room. I need one of those bungalows. And, oh no, we don't have that for, I said, look, if you want the script, you want me in a good environment to sit here and write. And so I was in the bungalow, and Doug, would come over, and we'd sit there right on the beach, writing Bethany's story. And we'll probably talk about it after the movie, but there are many things that were in the script that didn't end up in the movie that I think could have been really interesting if they had been in the movie. So.
And the movie was filmed for Sony Pictures, and it did very well. We made the film, the budget was $15 million. The film grossed $126 million, so it was profitable.
It actually became the highest grossing surf movie
of all time.
Ever.
We outgrossed every surfing movie before us, Point Break, Blue Crush, every one of them. So we're very proud of this movie because it also inspired a lot of people. It won over 20 different awards, including the Christian Oscar for Best Movie of the Year. And we won, out of those 20 awards, 12 of them were Best Inspirational Movie of the Year awards. And that's what we love, because we ended up getting thousands and thousands of letters from people all over the world that saw this movie and were inspired because of their own disabilities and their own handicaps that they had to overcome. And if Bethany could do it, they could as well. Those are the kind of letters we would receive. Again, it goes back to my loss of sight and overcoming that. So it was very personal to both of us, but we were very proud of the fact that we inspired so many people around the world.
You know, I mean, you know, we were the vehicle to let Bethany and her story inspire people. But what it was is Sony has a division that's faith-based, does faith-based films. But Sony, the studio, wanted to make sure this was not just a faith-based movie, but would be a wide, broad audience movie. And that's one of the things that we feel that we brought to it. We kept the inspiration and the spirituality and her Christianity and her true belief. But it was a challenge because this girl was so strong. She woke up in the hospital and she was fine. When do I surf again? You know, I mean, no big deal. I don't have an arm, okay. We had to put it in a crisis. So we actually had to go through the Bible and find things that, you know, she could question and wonder and make it into a movie that was, you know, her character believed it so deeply, but we weren't preaching.
And one of the things about this movie that works so well is Bethany lost her arm up to the shoulder. So we had an actress, Anna Sophia Robb, that had 2 whole arms. So how do you get rid of that arm in every shot through the entire movie after she loses the arm, which is towards the beginning? So we had a stump created in our makeup department, which was just a prosthesis about 3 inches long. And then the rest of her arm was covered in a green sleeve, like a long glove, down to her fingertips. And so we had to take out every shot, every frame of film, her arm, and there are over 900 CGI shots in this movie that just simply removed her arm. And when you remove an arm that's green, you have to fill in the background, and you'll see when you see the film, it's flawlessly done. You believe this girl does not have an arm. So it's really a CGI-driven effect that you don't realize is CGI because you believe it.
I have really good advice because I've given this advice to people, and especially today, young people. You have access not only to inexpensive production opportunities, but distribution through YouTube, through the internet, to tell stories. And every time I talk to somebody and I find out who they are and I get into their lives, because it's kind of like creating characters, and I find their story, I end up convincing them that they've got a really good story to do a film about. Every time. If you find the story in your life. So my biggest advice is, if you're starting out and you want to do something, is find the story in your life. And that doesn't mean that it's not about your friend and you're like a secondary character or whatever the situation is. But everybody's got a story, everybody's got a movie. And there's an opportunity today to
And I agree totally with that, but I would add to that because technology has advanced so much. When we were kids, we didn't have any technology. We didn't have video cameras, we didn't have anything. But today, you can take your iPhone and make a whole movie. And as a matter of fact, we have somebody that we're working with right now that literally did that. Took his iPhone, wrote a film, shot the entire film with one iPhone, and you'd swear it's a feature film. And it's amazing what you can do. Those are opportunities that we didn't have when we were young that you have
but
as students.
The technology is there for everybody. The key is storytelling. And there are a lot of stories out there. There's political stories that are, oh, let's write a monster movie. If you want to write a monster movie or a horror movie or a suspense movie, write yourself into it, write your story into it, figure out how that can fit, how your life can become, in the genre you want to tell, the story you want to tell, how your life and your friends, or your mother's life or your father's life, or the stories that you know.